Welcome to Kirby Air Ride All Tracks. This is the run I'm submitting for AGDQ. I'm going to be going over everything about this run and everything about this mode of this game and why this game is fast. So, starting off here, just to explain the run, it's all 9 tracks of the Air Ride mode in not consecutive order, but in order. We actually go out of the order to save time on menuing, which I will explain more once I start talking about the air rides. But this game has a pretty simplistic design. Basically, it has 2 controls. You control Kirby, you move him around with the control stick, and then everything else you press A, which you could also do L and R, and which I do at some points. But yeah, mostly I'll be using A. And you hit A to boost, you hit A to suck up enemies like I did right there. And you hit A to activate pads like I did right there and there. In this game, there's a boosting and charging mechanic, which is used quite a lot, and what I'm using right now for this air ride. And I'll be talking, like I said, I'll be talking about the differences in the air rides in a little bit. But right here, I'm using Slick Star, and I'm going to be using 4 different air rides throughout this run. Starting off here with the run, I'm going to be using the one-off air rides. So Slick Star, we're only using it for this track because since the tracks are made pretty different from each other, Slick Star is fastest on this track and really only on this track. It's decent on others, but mostly this. So basically what you want to do is you want to, with Slick Star, you want to hold your boost, and while you hold your boost, while you're holding your charge with A, you can turn, as you see I'm doing, and then you can let go A, and you'll go in the direction that you're facing when you do let go of A. So you're going to be seeing me do that a lot, like right here. I do that strat. Basically, with that strat, I have to snap to the angle right immediately, so I could let go into that cave and then have the momentum keep me going from that cave into this spot that I'm at right now. So the power-ups is another thing. Power-ups, basically, there's some really bad power-ups that you want to avoid in this run. And then there's like the decent ones, like the one I just got there, the ice power-up. That one's pretty decent. It's not awful, but the best one is sword. So right here, I'm going to do a pretty unique and cool strat. Basically, I go backwards to hit this ramp. So I'm using bulk. This is the second one-off air ride. And basically, the thing with bulk is it's really not that fast. You do a charge, and you go forward about, in the American version, it's about, you'll peak out at 40 miles per hour. Well, when you have a full charge and you go off a ramp, basically you'll land on the ground with the full charge, and that's what makes it go even faster. So instead of having a full charge of 40, you'll get a full charge of 60. And I am using the Japanese version, which I'll also explain a little bit more about later. But basically with the Japanese version, if I was to just like, to put in perspective, if I was just to do a regular boost, Kirby would only go up to about 80 or 70 kilometers. But with this method, he goes up to well over 100. So that's basically what makes this fast and why we go backwards there at the start. We go backwards there and hit that ramp, because if we don't go to hit that ramp, we won't make it to the next ramp fastly. So it's a pretty cool strat. You don't really see going backwards much. And the rest of this track is basically just that. Right here, I hold left slightly. It makes it go a little faster, and it makes... Basically, what you want to do is reduce your drop in speed as much as possible from one ramp to the next, and holding left there does that. But it just very slightly, not all the way. And then, also, I spin at a certain part in this level, which I'll explain more. That just helps me keep momentum. That is coming up right here. I basically, and also with bulk, I try to move as little as possible. So see right there, basically I spin and then I start holding left. And sometimes I like really keep my momentum fast, and I like kind of shoot off of that wall around that turn. So then right here, Basically, I'm just going to go straight into the or across the finish line here. So that's bulk, and that was slick. Anything more that I wanted to explain about slick? Slick, as you saw, there was that one big slide that I went down. Basically with that, I went on 2 different rails. The first time I went on the 3rd rail to the right, and then the second time I went on the last rail. The 3rd rail to the right is the most easiest to do that trick with, because a lot of the times you'll break out of it. So yeah, that's why I did that. Now here we're gonna get into the rocket section. Rocket is the second fastest air ride in this game, and it's really the fastest without glitches. Scooter is a air ride that basically abuses this one glitch, which makes it specifically fast. But so we're going to be using Rocket here for the next couple of tracks, for the next 4 tracks, I believe. So right here, we're doing Checker Night, which is the longest track in this game. It's going to be about a little over 3 minutes. And basically, the strats I'm doing here with Rocket, the strats are you basically want to like not hit the walls. You want to let your boost last as long as possible. Right there, I could run into that little root there from the boost pads and fly right over the gate, but I didn't hit it at the perfect angle, so it took me a little bit to go over that gate. Another thing with Rocket that you want to go fast is you want to hit all those pads. Now with those boost pads on the ground, I hit them twice really quick to get a double boost. And that's what is the reason why I'm going so fast from pad to pad, because that's basically what carries me and what keeps my momentum and my speed going when I'm going from boost pad and whatnot. Right there was a trick called boostless. Basically, it's really hard to get around that big half pipe without boosting. So what I do is I boost left into the wall, and then I boost right, like on the curves of the ramp. Well, right and left, because there's 3 different curves. And basically, I try to boost into the curves to get around them. That's a pretty hard strat. And then right there, when I'm going through those boost pads in particular, also right there, I'm trying to avoid that wheel. Wheel is one of the transformation power-ups. There's 2. There's wheel and bird, and those are the ones that you don't want. But yeah, when I'm going through those green boost pads, there's those pink pads on the ground, and I don't want to hit those because they will make a big tower arise and completely block my path. Right here, I boost twice, too. When you boost on the yellow part of the rail, it like keeps your speed. It's very strange. But yeah, so that's overall faster. You'll be seeing a lot of boosting on the rail. We did it with Slick. We're going to do it a lot with Rocket. We don't really do it with Scooter at all, though. Now, these boost pads, I have a little route with those. Basically, you know, they are still fast. They give you a little bit of boost, but they do spin you around, which overall slows you down. Throughout this run, we're going to see most of the power-ups. We just saw Mike there. See, that's what I was talking about with getting straight over the gate. So there we go. Not a bad Checker Night. Moving on, we're going to Steel Organ. Oh yeah, but like I was saying, we're going to see a lot of the power-ups. Mike is a decent power-up. I get it right there because it kept my momentum because it killed those enemies. Oh, and also there was that dirt path. Basically, when I go through that, it slows me down a lot. And there's types of stuff like that in every track. And I'll point out the ones in this track. Basically, they're just terrain on the tracks that slows you down. Right here, see the thing on the right, that like grading, that slows you down. So I try to go through that part fast. I do the double boost on that last boost and then let go for a split second to get like a boost from it, and then to also get out of like the grading part, the slow terrain part. So here I'm going to be using a bunch of different boosts around turns. Right here, I have to get the double boost there and here. It's very important to speed. I don't think I got it on that second boost, which is why I went a little slower. Now, killing enemies, I don't know if I said this, but killing enemies is really important with Rocket. That keeps your momentum and keeps you going. It keeps your speed going really strong. Now, I skipped that needle in the front there, and I get this one on purpose. And the reason for that, basically every little weird movement thing I do is on purpose, but the reason for that is so I don't suck up this wheel guy here. I was actually able to kill them there. Usually I'm not. Now right here too, you have to figure out how to like avoid those ramps and those bumpers. Basically, there's no RNG in this game, or not in this game, no, in this run. There's no RNG. Basically, I just have to, all these like little event things, like all these little stage hazards are basically all on a cycle, and I have to just get around them, or know when the cycle is. Which I do a pretty decent job at, just from, grinding it out so much. I know all the cycles usually. So as you can see there, I'm killing the enemies with the needle power up. The needle power up is the second best. It's a pretty good power up. That and sword are the best because you can just run into enemies and kill them, or have enemies next to you and kill them, and that keeps your speed. With something like with fire, you would have to like sharpshoot them basically, and that would keep your speed. So here, this is Fantasy Meadows. This is the first track of the game that I'm doing fifth here, and it's the shortest track. So I'm going to be doing a strat. I start holding right at the Waddle Dees. I have to go really fast here. Cut those guys. I don't think I make it. No, I don't. But the fastest strat there is to get the sword to those Scarfies, those orange guys, and then cut those Scarfies, and that's pretty fast. But I did unfortunately miss it there, but it doesn't lose too much time, but it saves a couple seconds. It's pretty cool. But it's very hard to do because the power-ups, all the power-ups except for Sleep and Mike and Plasma are all on a timer, so they will run out eventually. So now we're moving on to Magma Flows. Right here is a really weird thing. So I'm going to wait about a second. If I boosted as soon as my boost was charged up, I would have gotten 83 boost. But since I waited a second and boosted at a certain, or let go the charge at a certain point, I got a 113 to 115 boost. Back in the American version, we used to call it the 70 boost because instead of 50, you would get 70. But now instead of like 83, you get 113, 115. So that's a weird little thing. And also that differs between versions. In the Japanese version, that you have to wait a second. In the NTSCU version, you just release at there's like a couple frame window that you can release. Now this game also is in 60 FPS. So some of the frame sensitive tricks are a little harder. Right there, there's a lot of stuff I did right there. I'll explain it on the next lap. So getting the double boosts on those pads are pretty important. I did screw it up a little bit, but not a big deal. Basically, so like I was talking about cycles, there's a big cycle thing right here. You want to get this middle path every time. If you get that middle path every time, you're looking good. The reason is because that middle path is way faster than the other two. The right path is pretty good, but the left path is really bad. The middle and the right are decent, or are viable because they have sword. So right there, also after I get that double boost, I start holding as soon as I get the bomb and the momentum, and I'm holding left at a very certain angle, and the momentum keeps me going around that turn, and it's really good. Right here, there's a trick that you could do called boostless if you're going another boostless if you're going fast enough, but I was not. So right there, I got all three good cycles. So that's really good. If you go too fast, you could get the wrong cycle. You could just be going too fast and you might miss your cycle. But what you could do then is boost to, waste a little time till you get the better cycle. And then also you'll be going super fast on top of that. So right there, avoiding that bird is pretty important. And I'm usually able to avoid him by getting a Waddle Dee and shooting it at the bird and killing it. But this time I just shot it. I didn't kill it. The garbage enemies we'll use a lot. They're basically the Waddle Dees, the broomstick guy, all that. So now we're using Scooter. You just saw the glitch I was talking about. This is called the spin dash. Basically what we do is we spin and go into a wall at a certain angle. I like a slight 45-degree angle maybe. Right here we're doing it, and then as soon as we hit the wall, we hold A for about a second. Then right there I was holding down left and I hit A at the soon as I got off the vine and I went flying. this is a pretty hectic level. There's a lot of spin dashes that we have to do. Now we're getting into the scooter levels. We're going to be seeing Scooter for the rest of the run. And it's pretty exciting. Now, that was a crazy backup. Basically, I want to get on this rail. That rail is about 1 second to 2 seconds faster from a really optimal backup. But right there, I was able to do a super optimal backup that's like, you can't really replicate. It just happened. And I was able to only lose like a half a second. So right here, I'll try to hold down right off of that last vine to go flying and keep my speed going well. And then right here, I go right down that middle path. I shoot off that guy to kill that guy, and then that guy to kill another guy. All to just like, as you know, killing the enemies is just overall fast. Also those. Okay, so this is the optimal. This is the other optimal backup. There you go. We do a spin dash down there, and then hit both of those pads. Then also I'm pressing A at the top of that thing to go flying off of that little slope there. So I kill these enemies, and then I kill these guys, and I hit that a little route to go pretty far as well. A lot of the tech with Scooter is also with his jumps. Basically, you can hit down as soon as you go off a like ramp to go pretty far, and we're going to be seeing that specifically in the next level. So that was not bad. But, oh yeah, the rails on the right are 1 second faster than the rails on the left right at the end of that track. So here we go. We're going into Valerian or Celestial Valley. So this is what I'm talking about with the big jumps. So right here in the beginning, there's a couple frames window right there where I could hit down and then fly off and then do that big jump. That one is very hard to do, but luckily I was able to get it. So right there, I usually try to get the, I suck up the wing and the ice at the same time. And then basically, for whatever reason, when you do different, like, specific combos, like wing and ice, if you just let it run out, it will start a cycler. And basically what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to hit it and then hope, you know, what are you going to get? But if you just let it run out, that one specifically will always turn sword. I did miss it though, and I ended up just getting the ice. But that's not that bad. Right there, I hold top left, very slightly, and I'm able to hit A. And then I go flying across the map, and then I'm really able to keep my momentum there. I missed the rail, which is a little slow, but it's okay because I'm able to get those mushroom guys. I hit down off those hills. I hit down right there. Oh, and then also I hit down at this sign, and I'm able to land right on there. There's different strats for each little rail or little track that you go on. So sword is important here. Also, I do a little bit of a boost when I get up to this part. I'll talk about it in the next lap. So here's that strat I was talking about again. I hit the invisible wall. That's another thing in this game. It's surrounded by a complete invisible like tube. So you're going to be seeing that a lot. So there's really is like no out of bounds tricks that we were able to find or anything. You can't go from one path to another. You're kind of like stuck, which is cool because because the run just more requires on you know, skill and movement than glitch execution, which I mean either way I'd be fine with. So right here, I spin and then press A, and I'm able to, like, do a boost. As soon as I hit the ground, I'm able to, like, carry my momentum. That's just a slight thing. Didn't really work too well. Now there, I wasn't able to get into the watered rapids. I kept popping out. So that was that. Now we're on to the final track, Sandula. We're going to be... there was really no spin dashing in that last track. There is one spin dashing that I would show off if this did get into a GDQ. That's really hard, but really, really cool looking. Basically, I you know that jump into that like little cubby thing with the rails? I basically go straight from that into the rails with a spin dash, and I fly into it, and it's nuts, but it's very hard. It's very precise to do. So I'm going to be boosting on these walls. That's actually fast for around turns. Basically with this, let me explain JP. So JP is faster than NTSCU, really any of the versions, for the reason because the air rides are lighter, so they keep momentum much more, and they decelerate slower. They're just all in all it's really good. about every track is at least like 2 seconds faster in JP, and you're just able to keep your almost, I almost want to call them combos, like keep them just going, keep your strats going really well. But yeah, basically there's a couple air rides that just when they hit the wall, like whether it's just boosting or spinning and boosting, they just go super fast. So a little bit more spin dashes here. You saw right in the first lap that I grabbed a tornado guy through the ground. That's a pretty little cool strat. I do that as, so right there, I also right there I kind of screwed up. I was supposed to get that that sword. He's kind of important, but I was at a really weird angle that I was about to hit the whatchamacallit, the wheel, so I had to kind of back out of that, but it's not a super big deal. This was still okay. And then when you get the sword there, you could cut through those guys and go pretty fast. But yeah, Swerve is another track that does that as well. Or another air ride that does that as well, with the spinning into the wall and going faster. It's just a weird thing in this game. But yeah, that's it. That's Kirby Air Ride All Tracks. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.